This is Level Up Success Podcast with Neff and Truth.
Hey, how you doing, friends and family? This is the Level Up
Success Podcast.
and welcome to another episode when we try to bring knowledge and power to our listener. So tell me, Ned, how we going to start this right now?
Hey, how you guys doing today, man? I hope you're doing great. We're doing awesome out here. And, I just want to first say that I'm excited for today's content. We actually have somebody here who I knew since I was really young.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is like family right here, and I was so happy to hear what he's doing now after so long that we haven't kept in touch. So for the honors, why don't you give tell people your name, where you're from, where you were raised.
Well, what's up, podcast world? My name is Devin Craig. I'm Bronx born, Bronx raised. Nationality is from Central America, Belize. Family man, wife, kids. What I've been doing? I've been doing a lot, baby.
All right, we're about to talk about that in a bit, right?
Yeah,
It's going to be a great episode. Yeah, finally, so tell me.
All right, so cool. So what is that you do right now?
So what I do right now is I'm currently a longshoreman. Some people's like, what the hell is that? Especially from my area. They don't know what's longshoreman. I work in the ports, container ships. I do the dock work. So we are what make America move. So all of your products and everything you get across the world, across the country, comes through the ports. Yeah. So whether it's made in China, Thailand, Europe, it comes through the ports of America. Whether it be California, it be the Northeast, it be down south, Savannah. We control the whole commerce of America as far as the produce that's moved in and out the ports. And then another thing I got going on is I started my own trucking business, which is another thing that makes America move.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got two things that make to move progress. So that's
yes. I've been a truck driver since 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've been doing that for so many years now. It's going on 20 years almost. Trucking changed my life. I know that's the topic you want to really talk about. That's what everybody wants to talk about is trucking.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I was in the military. I was in the Army. Bronx born, so I said that already. I went to Cardinal Hayes High School. From Cardinal Hayes High School, I joined the military. Was in the Army. I was in the National Guard after I got out the Army.
Oh, wow.
I was also in the National Guard when 9/11 happened. So I was one of the National Guardsmen that was down at the Twin Towers at the Trade Center.
Wow.
So I have been through a lot of life experiences, which I'm grateful for, and it molded me to the person I am today.
Yeah. No, I hear that you it's nothing like going through a lot of experiences.
Yes. That's the real teacher right there.
Yeah.
Going through life experiences. I tell that to my teenagers because my son, he's 19, my daughter's 16. And, these young kids, they think they know everything.
Oh, definitely.
But they look at us like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. But what I've learned is with age comes wisdom.
Yeah.
So whatever wisdom I gained throughout my years is I could share that to you. And it's vice versa. I mean, these young kids, they learn stuff that we don't know. They hip with the technology and the TikToks and all that. So they could school us to a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
But there's also life things that we go through that never changes. I tell them all the time, the game don't change, only the players.
And it's always like that because even with my parents, there's certain things that I learned from them, like things that they learn through experience. And all I could I could teach them about technologies. I could teach them,
it's the value they gave us.
And that's coming from Hispanic and Black backgrounds. We have to start learning how to just help our kids grow into their own instead of trying to tell them what to do. So I try not to tell my kids what to do that much, even though I want to, but I'm just here. I tell them all the time, I'm here just as a support system and help you go through what you want to do. You would think everything I got going on, my kids would want to do it, but they don't want to do it. But I'm not putting no pressure into them to run the family business and all that. So it is what it is.
No, that's dope because that's the thing. It's hard to break the cycle, especially with black and, like you said, black and brown family.
Yeah.
They just want to this is the way it's supposed to be, and that's how you're gonna be successful.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The only thing I do now is, like you said, is things that we learned that we didn't do or our parents didn't do for us, I do for them now. Like my kids, I put them on my credit cards early. Yeah. My son got like an almost 800 credit score.
Oh, wow.
My daughter, I added her on one of our credit cards. She has like over 700 credit score. She never even purchased nothing. My son just got his Toyota Corolla 2022.
Yeah.
Walked in the dealership. They were all bragging. They were showing off his credit report to all the other sales guys because they was like, yo, how this kid got better credit than some of the adults that come here? But these are stuff that me and my wife learned that we didn't get, our parents didn't do for us because they didn't have the knowledge. It's not because they're bad parents. It's just the lack of knowledge. Yeah. See, sometimes we look back, our moms and dads didn't do this shit for us. But I could curse on here?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course.
Yeah. So we be like, yo, our moms and dads didn't do shit for us or whatever. Or they didn't teach us this shit or they didn't teach us that. But the reality of the case is, in our communication, we don't have information.
Yeah.
So that's the problem we're having is the lack of information. And that's why our parents are the way they are. And then we're the way we are.
Yeah.
Because we still have a little bit of their traits, but we had that newer chain of thinking of the new generation.
Yeah, exactly, and it's funny that we always talk about that because the lack of knowledge don't think it shows which is a C. It's not even their fault because when they came from DR, PR, wherever you come from, when they come from another country, they already know by coming here, they're giving our children better education.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if they had, like you said, if they had the knowledge to tell, do this, do that, they would do that. Exactly. Now, why you gonna tell me?
No, it was the same. It was relating to the same thing. Like our parents came from poverty, so coming here is already a success. So, but they don't come in with more knowledge. It's not their fault. Like, I mean, to them, there's already success, which it is. In comparison to,
I'm from a single mom's. I have knowledge of my father. My mother worked every day. And I could honestly say, I tell this to people all the time. I grew up in a 1-bedroom with my mother. We shared the same room all the way to high school. I have no shame in saying that. I had 2 beds in the same room. I had one side of the room. My mom's had the next side of the room. But this is what she did. And she made me into the person I am today. So I try to just, some people be like, yo, Craig, you go too hard. But you don't know how I grew up. You don't know how I was. And sometimes I ran away to the army is to actually find my freedom and to actually being by myself. The irony part is I still had a fucking roommate in the army. So it's like I ran away from my mom's being my roommate, but now I go to the army and now I still got a fucking roommate. So I still couldn't live by myself.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it's just certain life experience either make you or break you.
Yeah.
Some other people, it could have broke them going through that type of life trauma. And like we always have life trauma from our environment, the things we see, the way we grow up. Yeah. So especially if you grew up in the Bronx from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s.
It depends on,
If you know the Bronx wasn't no joke growing up. You know what I mean?
Definitely
so that's my life in a nutshell. I came a long way. Like I said, I was in the army. I started a family young. We both started young. And we just tried to figure out this life shit as well. Yeah. The family life shit. And as I was going through all that, I'm still trying to figure out myself as a man. Like, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? You know what I'm saying? I moved to Florida. I did the Orlando thing. You know, everybody moves to Florida. So I ran down to Florida. I followed the wave, ran down to Florida. Florida, hey, if your podcast is listening, listen, let me tell y'all something. Florida, y'all can find a job the next day, but it's not paying you no type of money. So everybody runs to Florida. Yeah, you can find a job in Florida, but you're going to be working 2-3 jobs just to sustain a lifestyle. That's one thing I can say about Florida. Finding work is easy, but living is hard.
Yeah.
Until you find yourself a career, you know what I mean?
Is it parts of Florida or is it the whole Florida? Because I know.
Well, I moved down to Florida in 2004.
Okay.
So then it wasn't fully. They call us the snowbirds. So we wasn't fully like out there. Yeah. And it was mostly Puerto Ricans. Like the Dominicans had it because Dominicans invade everywhere, right? Because my wife's Dominican, so I consider myself honorary Dominican. So we Dominicans invade everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it was mostly Puerto Ricans when I moved to Florida, and Kissimmee wasn't. I moved to Kissimmee. It wasn't even developed the way it is now. We went down there recently from one of my friends' reveals about a year ago, 2 years ago, and it was like we was looking at Florida like, damn,
way different.
We
than
don't even
before.
recognize this place. Like
You think to yourself, damn, why was it like
yeah,
this
like
before,
this,
right?
it was all dirt. It was
I
all,
know.
you know what I'm saying? But it was why I'm going into Florida because it's a talk of my journey. So we went to Florida, and my wife, she was doing like the check cash store. She's always been a manager, so she always got like these little check cash store retail management jobs.
Okay.
So she was doing the management stuff, but I was still trying to find my way as a man. So me being in the Army, what's the quickest thing some guys get in the Army? Security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Security. So I did a little security. Then I did the armored truck security.
Okay.
So that was my first time driving trucks. It was my first experience into.
So you started in Florida, the trucking?
Yes. Yeah. So I started in Florida with a security job.
Oh, okay.
And then, I mean, even prior to leaving here, all I did was security. So I went to Florida, did a security job. Then I found out that I could get my gun license because of my military background.
Yeah.
And a job that was hiring that was paying much more than the regular security. Security was only paying you $8 an hour. The armored truck, it gets even more. The armored truck where you're carrying millions of dollars,
Yeah.
they were only paying $13 an hour. But if you do the comparison, you're making $18 an hour over 40 weeks compared to $13 an hour over 40 weeks. It's a come up.
Yeah.
It's a come up. It's a come up. The only downside to Florida, and some of the jobs was they paid you bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you wasn't getting paid weekly. A lot to a lot. I was gonna say a lot to a little, but a lot to a lot in Florida pay you bi-weekly.
Yeah, but that's going on here in New York as well now. At this point,
They
in time.
doing the bi-weekly thing.
Yeah. A lot of businesses are paying people bi-weekly.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't make sense because I read all the time that I got a family still over here are living check by check. So imagine doing it bi-weekly.
Yeah, you had to budget it. The good thing about us was, at that time, my wife was getting paid the opposite week I got paid. So it was like a weekly household income.
All right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my week I got paid, she didn't get paid, but the week I didn't get paid, she got paid. So it still balanced out
Yeah, it
in
worked
a
out.
good way. So I did the armored truck thing for like 2 years, driving a truck. My first time experiencing the truck, learning about air brakes and all that.
Yeah.
And then I got tired of the job because I'm working long hours. I'm not really making that much money. Let me try to figure my life out.
How soon after that you got the truck job? Like,
When I left the armored truck,
yeah.
I went to work for Singular Wireless. You familiar with the
Okay.
cellular?
Yeah.
So I did Singular Wireless, and just like how you guys meet somebody, I sat next to a guy, and his brother was driving trucks. Singular Wireless was paying me $600 every 2 weeks,
Okay.
but his brother was making $800 every week. So I'm like, he's talking about, the guy, me and him getting cool. We're going through the training class. He's like, yo, man, I'm about to lead this shit. My brother, he's making $800 a week. Yo, bro, we only making $600 every 2 weeks. And I was like, yo, what you got to do about getting into it? He's like, I know a school. They'll train you. And then you could get a job as soon as you finish the school. He was like, it's about $5,000.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm making $600 every 2 weeks. So I can't afford this $5,000 fucking dollars. He was like, nah. What it is you'll sign on with a company and they'll pay for the school, or you take a loan out. So I'm like, all right. At that time, I have amazing credit, but I wasn't even using my credit. So I was like, you know what? I have decent enough credit to get a loan. So I applied. They accepted me. I'm like, okay, this is the beginning of the change. So I had to go home and explain to the wife why I'm quitting my job again. Because I'm always quitting my job.
Yeah. No, but so the question that I had earlier was so you had the job with the truck, like how long did you work that for?
The armored truck?
Yeah, the armored truck.
2 years.
So okay, so yeah, that makes sense.
I stayed there.
Yeah.
I stayed there for 2 years. It was a good job. I used the job because at the same time I was going to college. So I was using the job. I had a great coworker. Her name was Colleen, and she got into the armored truck, but she didn't like jumping out. They call jump out, the guy that runs in the store get the money.
Yeah.
She just liked to drive because she was a little nervous. She didn't want to jump out. So I said,
course,
you know
yeah,
what?
makes sense.
It was my route because I've been there for a while. So you
Yeah.
get a route. So I said, you know what? You drive. And I had started school. So what I used to do is we used to have sometimes long hour drives in between next location or maybe half an hour. I used to study in the back. And she used to
Okay.
quiz me. And I stood there until I got like my associates.
Okay,
Oh,
that's pretty
nice.
dope.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty
I
dope.
stood there at the job. So I kind of used it to my benefit. And then I got my degree in marketing. And then from there is when I decided to quit. I saw that marketing jobs, entry level, wasn't paying shit neither. They're paying you like 30,000, 28,000. And I'm talking about 2004 to like 2006, this
Yeah.
time frame. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But you got to understand, in this time frame, we're talking about almost 20 years ago. If you're making 50 grand, 60 grand, you living like a king
At this time.
at this time. And I'm
Yeah,
talking about,
at
this is
that
not
time,
as an
yeah.
entrepreneur. This is just as a regular worker. You making 40 plus as a regular worker back then, you doing good. You doing good. I mean, the
Exactly.
car notes was far much cheaper. You know, you're getting SUVs for like
Yeah,
three,
yeah.
400,000, $400
Yeah.
a month. You're not paying $600, $700, $800 a month that you're paying now.
Yeah.
You know, a Corolla would probably cost you like $90 a month for a car note. So it wasn't like it was that expensive to live back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, we didn't have the inflation we have right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now.
So then I went to the school and they accepted me. And I told the dude, like, I went home and told the wife, yo, I'm quitting. She said, you quitting another job? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving the job. She's like, fuck, what are we going to do now? I said, yo, trust me. This trucking shit is going to be a game changer. So she was like, all right, I'm going to just ride with you on this one. So I went, and I never forget it. I started the school in November, and I got my CDL December 6th, 2006.
Okay.
Because they do everything. It's a one-stop shop. You don't
Yeah.
even have to go in there with a permit, nothing. They'll school you. They give you the permit test. They give you the paper to take to the DMV. The DMV issue the permit. Then they give you the road test. They give you the paper to take to the DMV. The DMV gives you the fucking license.
Do they give you like a certain time to do the process?
It's 2 weeks. So the
Oh.
school is I give the school a shout out, even though I'm not making no money off of them. It was called Roadmaster.
All
they
right.
they based out of Orlando. You could Google them. If any potters listening and they live in Orlando or the Central Florida area,
Yeah.
they were called Roadmaster. I don't know how much their prices are now. I don't know how the school is.
Yeah.
But they had their lot was like a big ass acre. So you actually drove the truck in the lot initially, and then they will teach you on the road. So the first 3-4 days, your classroom. After that, you're on the road. You're on the road just driving. And I'm talking about it's from like 6 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon.
Oh, but that's good because I know.
You're not there for a couple hours. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you can't have a job for those 2 weeks. Either you have 2 weeks vacation or not, but you're going there from Monday through Friday, 6 in the morning to you're doing like 11 hours.
But that's like hours because I know a couple of people that went to trucking school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the schedule was like an hour or two a day or something like that.
Nah.
It was real short, and they had to learn a lot by themselves. So
This one was really good. They didn't throw you to the wolves like that, and then they'll teach you how to fucking go back and forth.
yeah.
See, the biggest, I'm gonna tell you about the biggest So, anyways, they teach me how. I got everything through them, my CDL, whatever. What I did was they had orientations, and they had companies come in there and teach you. They wanted to hire you, but it was all over the road. I never did over the road. There was one company. They're owned by Cisco Food Service. If you're familiar with Cisco,
Yeah.
Yeah.
their sister company is called Sigma. They deliver to all the Wendy's, Boston Markets, Steak and Shakes, Cold Stone Creameries, and all that. And they told me, we'll hire you, we'll put you with a senior driver, but you have to unload the whole trailer. So I said, fuck it, I'll unload the whole trailer because I didn't want to go over the road. Because over the road, you out 2 weeks, a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You hear these stories and stuff and people going over the road. And I was like, nah, there's a lot of companies for you guys that's getting your new CDL that will hire you locally. You might have to do a little extra more work, but it's all on your preference. If you want to go over the road, you go to the road. I figured me driving in the city was better because I learned how to maneuver in the city. I learned how to back up more.
Okay.
I
yeah.
learned a lot of things to maneuver the truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like a risk. I'm sorry. That's like a risk. Also, I heard from what I heard, driving on the road, because if anything or any of the product get messed up or something happen.
Yeah.
So I got drivers don't know that, because some of the things you tell me, I know, because I know I got a couple of friends driver too.
Yeah.
And they explain to me all the risk about driving on the road or staying locally.
Yeah. And
people will talk about it. Like you
over the
said.
road, like I tell people, over the road, you're just gonna learn how to drive straight. When you come to that local game, you're gonna have to learn how to drive straight, how to make a left turn. Imagine bringing a big 53-foot trailer on the cross Bronx.
Yeah.
When I came back from Orlando, and let me cut it. So I got the trucking. Let me tell you about the life journeys.
Oh yeah.
I got the trucking, and then I ended up getting a job with Sigma. And 3 months later, we ended up buying our first house.
Okay.
So this is why I say trucking changed my life.
Yeah.
3 months later, we ended up buying our first house. The downside was I had to work the night shift, but I mean, I'm not over the road. I'm home every day. You know what I mean? I work 5 days a week, home every day, and I was making $50,000 a year.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it was like it was a necessary sacrifice.
Yeah, it was a necessary
Right?
and that's what people have to start having to do.
Yeah.
Like if I tell anybody anything, and somebody tells me an idea, I'm like, just do it. Just do it, because tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, you gotta put the time. It's always anything that you want to do, and to see you gotta put a little bit of sacrifice. Age say that something or similar too.
I always talk about that. Like, it's one of the things that we're lacking in our community. Like, like people don't dream enough, and when they do dream, they don't go forth what it is that they want to accomplish.
So what do you think it is? Is it fair? I think it's fair. What do you think? It's fair? Is it the fear that they scared, or they're nervous, anxiety? What do you think, as you guys go into your own entrepreneurness, what do you think that it is that stop people from doing what they want to do?
For me, I think it's actually fear, because people are too scared, like they're gonna fail. And we got a mentality that if you fail, that's the worst thing. For me, if you fail, it's good because you learn from your mistake. But people don't see fail as learning.
Yeah.
That's the main issue I think we have in our community. What do you think?
For me, is that the people are just comfortable being comfortable where they at.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
But I look at it like this, and I tell everybody, if you're comfortable in your life, that's cool. It's your life. We all here to live our own life. I'm not here on this pod to tell people to get into trucking. I'm just here to express my experience with trucking. But what I tell everybody, even my kids, even when my son does something, my daughter, I'm like, listen, it's your life.
Yeah.
I'm just here to help you. Like right now, I'm paying for my son's college. He's going to Buffalo University. He just got his associates from Union County College. Yeah. So now he's going to Buffalo in August. And I tell him, I said, listen, bro, I'm paying for this. But I want you to enjoy the college life, but I want you to be focused. And I want you to understand, it's your life. So you going up there, there's people right now that's out here going 2 jobs just to get a college education.
Yeah.
You're going to college on the sweat of my back, because I'm telling you, I want you to do this because it's for a reason. I want you to get educated. Whether you use your degree or not, it just gives you something to have. It's more in your arsenal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I tell him, like, I try to have man-to-man talks. But back to your point, fear is one thing. Comfort is another thing. And then another thing I believe is people doubt.
Yeah.
They second guess themselves. So it's like, I know people that's not scared of anything, but then they're like, I don't want to do that. Like yo, I want to move this ladder. You know what? That ladder's fine right there. I don't need to move that fucking ladder.
I think that would be a little bit of fear. You would think, when they second doubt themselves.
But I mean, he might not have fear of moving that ladder. He just might not just want to move that ladder to the other side, because he's just like, you know what? I don't need to move it. Why I need to move it? Because it doesn't need to be moved. He's second guessing himself. But then we all know that ladder's in a bad position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how people look at life, as different fucking perceptions.
Yeah, perception. Yeah.
But at the same time, we all figure the bottom line is they don't want to make the move. They don't want to make the move.
Just not taking the action. But it's like, it like I said, it just depends on the person. What I really believe it comes down to is that we're lacking the knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we had the knowledge, if we understood what it is that we're going through, like when we're going through it, then at least we'll know, okay, is this worth it for me? Or do I want to go do something else? So people don't want to pursue that in the doubt or fear that what they're pursuing is not what they want to do.
Yeah. And
that's what it comes down to in reality.
And then what I try to tell people too is we're not just talking about entrepreneurship. It could be that new job. It could be the position you at, because not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly, yeah.
But everybody is meant to be an investor. You can always invest your money and still be comfortable at that cubicle. If you like I tell people, if you like your environment and it's bringing you peace, then there's no need for you to leave it.
Yeah.
Because if your goal is to make more money, you could always invest your money. You know what I'm saying? Because it could go with a fear of investment. Because some people don't want to manage other people.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to do this entrepreneurship shit.
I mean, again, for me, it's part of it is fear, because
no, fear is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Fear is probably the top of the number one.
And the part of having doubt, I understand, because at one time I was working for this company. I was getting really underpaid, and I knew about it. I even talked with my boss, but they were like, they kept promising
Keep giving you promises.
it, but I saw it was going nowhere, so I decided to network, talk with a couple of people, got offered way more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And before I actually ended up quitting, I gave them a check, like, I got a better offer. I think you tell how much I got offer for. Will you try to
reconsider?
Consider.
Yeah.
They give me an offer nowhere nearby, so I had to
Now
quit.
let me ask you a question. What did you learn about that whole situation that you went through right there?
I felt like I was being undervalued.
You learned about self-worth.
Yes.
That was the key right there. And that's what more people need to find.
Yeah.
Once you know your self-worth, then you can move accordingly. So me doing the trucking or me doing all this other stuff, it's cool. It brings finances in. But what is my self-worth?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What am I really worth? So back to the original conversation of trucking. So I end up doing the trucking.
Okay.
And then my wife ended up getting a job offer out here. But so she wanted to move back to New York, New Jersey. But I already knew I had a CDL. So I tell everybody, if they're even looking for something, even you guys, I would suggest you guys get your CDL. If you know, even the listeners, if you guys are listening and watching us, go get your CDL. I see a lot of more women drivers now. Everybody, and I tell this, and I'm going to tell you guys this from just the experiences. You could get your CDL and not use it. But when you go to apply for a job, they ask you how long you had your CDL.
Yeah.
You might have had your CDL for 2 years. So now you're not a brand new driver. These are some things, these are little tricks of the game. You get what I'm saying? For insurance purpose. Yeah. So you might wake up one day and be like, oh, you know what? I have the CDL sitting in my wallet. Maybe I go buy my own truck and go drive for myself. So now when you go out to apply for insurance, what they gonna look at? How long you had your CDL?
Yeah.
2 years. Yeah. So I'm gonna talk into the business part about it in a second, but I tell everybody, go get your CDL. So I came back up and I knew with a CDL, I could get a job anywhere. Just like with a security background, you could get a job, and these are most of the common jobs you could get, right?
Yeah.
So I came up, started driving around for Cisco. I have a problem with quitting jobs. I have a big problem with quitting jobs because if I don't like the job, I quit.
I mean, I could reverse and say that you like it allowed you to learn from all the you know you got a lot of experience, so sometimes it's good to, like, you know, I mean, sorry for all the owners out there, I mean, including myself, right? I wouldn't want my employees to quit on me after
no, I don't want nobody to quit on me neither. I want all my drivers, right? My drivers are listening to this. I really appreciate you. Don't quit, my guy. Don't quit. Don't quit.
Nah, but
I value your worth.
Yeah. No, but it's sometimes I see how it's good. Like even you know, we had episode previously that of of somebody who he traveled a lot, like as a kid.
Yeah.
And there's allowed him to see a lot of like diversity, like you just learn.
Yeah.
And when you learn, it's easier for you to apply yourself to doing something else rather than you being stuck doing one thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
I'm gonna explain to you about life journeys. So when I quit Cisco, I came up and I signed up with Cisco Food Service.
Yeah.
From Florida. And when I signed up with Cisco Food Service, I didn't like it because it was totally different. In Florida, when I did the offloading of the trailers, I had a helper. Up here, you do shit by yourself.
Oh,
and
wow.
then when you do deliveries in Manhattan, everything is basements.
Okay.
So you're taking a hand truck, you're going down to the basement with all these products. I was 27, 28 years old, and my wife had to rub me down with Bengay every night. I think I'm a little bit too young to be rubbed down with icy hot. She had to rub the icy hot. My back was fucked up.
Yeah.
I was like, man, fuck this shit. So I found out that you could do trailer jobs where you don't have to touch the freight.
Okay.
This is me, lack of knowledge, but learning knowledge.
Exactly.
So I applied to a company that hopefully you guys might know about, but it's called JB Hunt. They're one of the biggest trucking companies in the United States.
Yeah.
You have JB Hunt Schneider, but they do a lot of things. They do flatbed, which is where it's the trailers with the flat, where you could load lumber, steel, and all that. They did the Home Depot account. They do Rite Aids. And then they do the next big thing that changed my life was called Intermobile. This is where I'm going to talk about in my trucking, the Intermobile. So Intermobile is where they transport products on the trains.
Before you continue, so at this point, you still haven't had your own business. So I see that so first it was military, then you did security.
Yep.
Then you worked with armored truck.
Yep.
Right in Florida.
Yep.
Then you got a
singular wireless customer service.
Yeah, okay. So
I'm the 611 guy.
Yeah.
When you call in 611, I'm fixing your phone.
You was that guy? Were you the annoying one? Like,
nah, I was the cool one.
Yeah, there be some annoying people when you call customer service, but not.
I did the hold on. Let me talk to my manager.
Yeah,
and I'm just there looking at the screen while they talking. I already knew how to solve the problem, but I'll be like, yo, hold on, let me talk to the manager.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back on and be like, yo, sir, I'll come right back. I'm still talking to the manager. I'll be right back. And I'll just be there, eat my sandwich or eat my lunch.
My guy is chilling. Wait, what year was this?
This was this was 06.
06? Wait.
No, okay, yeah, because I got singular in 2006 because I got my CDL in 2000.
That's when the Sidekicks was out, right? No. Sidekicks came out right after that. That was the bar phones.
It was right before they transitioned back to AT&T.
Oh, yeah.
It was right before singular transition because they were AT&T first, then they went singular, then they went AT&T.
Yeah, they went back and forth. I remember.
I'm trying to figure out if social media was out at that time. I think at that time it was just AIM.
No, social media?
MySpace.
Yeah, it had MySpace. MySpace, Mi Gente.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My Mi Gente.
Black Planet. They had Black Planet.
My guy was at Mi Gente. Nah.
Black Planet.
Yeah, Black Planet, Mi Gente. That's old school. I feel man old right now.
Yeah. They had all that shit, bro.
They
had social media. Facebook hasn't started yet. Facebook wasn't around. But, so I came back. I did the truck and worked for JB Hunt.
Yeah.
I stood with JB Hunt for a while, actually. I stood with JB Hunt for 7 years. But JB Hunt, I did so many different accounts. I started off with the first account I did was the Rite Aid. And I did Rite Aid, but it was up in Newburgh. I had to drive to Newburgh to go pick up the trailer. I didn't like that. But I got cool with the managers. One thing I could say to all these individuals, even your listeners, you guys hear me, I quit so many jobs. I never left the job with bad rapport.
Yeah.
I always left the job 2 weeks notice. When I did have the job, I gave them 110%. There was even points where I even got callbacks from my jobs. Or even when I was deciding to move back to Florida, I reached out to some of the managers that were still there, and they was willing to welcome me back with open arms.
Yes.
So I tell people, if you're in a workspace or work environment that you don't like, don't make it hell for other people around you, even though it's your hell. Just try to figure out a way to make it good for you. And if you don't like your job or your current situation, move on. It's a job.
Yeah. I mean, you're right because my last, I think I only quit 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And I ended on good terms. Like my last 2 boss, I know on both of them, they told me like, if you ever want to come back, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. You just gotta leave a stamp. Don't leave a stamp, leave a mark. but don't leave a stain.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
gonna say that,
yeah.
Leave a
Yo,
stamp, leave a
that-
mark, but don't leave a stain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's how I look at life as a whole. Even with people you meet, that you know
No,
what I mean?
I've seen people burn bridges.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time.
People definitely do.
So I started working all these different accounts with JB Hunt till it finally landed me on this account called Intermobile.
Yeah.
So for those who's listening, Intermobile is a part of the trucking game where they transport produce on the rail. So you'll see all these containers stacked on top of a train, and they'll produce go across country, east to west, north to south. You have companies like Norfolk Southern, CSX. These are the big black trains you see. Sometimes you get stopped on the road. You see this train hauling these containers.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing with JB Hunt for 7 years. It opened my eyes to a lot of things in the transportation industry. It actually led me to meet some people that I know now that introduced me to the current job I have now, which is another part of the container game, which is the ports,
Okay.
shipping containers. So now I went from learning about the rail, how you ship containers across the country through the rail, doing it firsthand, being a worker. I'm a worker at this whole time. So learning about the shipping. But prior to me going to the shipping aspect of it, I've decided one day with my bright idea, I'm going to go buy a truck. Because I was already driving trucks for 7 years. So I said, you know what? Let me go dip in the trucking game. So in 2010, I purchased my first truck.
Was it I know you, but was it a process? There's a certain way to do it.
No.
Or is it
Well, what I tell people now is, and it's still the same from back then to now. When you're buying a truck, you have to decide who's buying the truck. Because if you're buying a truck without no CDL, they're going to charge you more because it's a commercial loan.
Yeah.
You're getting out a commercial loan. So they're going to charge you more different than me with a CDL getting a truck because you're more of a higher risk.
Yeah.
They look at me as a CDL driver buying a truck. I'm driving a truck. They look at you, you're trying to start a fleet. If you don't have a driver, who's going to pay for this truck?
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people that's getting into the game. Some people go buy their truck cash, but if they're looking for finances, probably go to your credit union, go through your own bank, see if you can get a business loan, and then probably purchase a truck that way. Because if you go to some of these truck dealerships, they're very strict and strenuous on how they screen their applicants.
I mean, I'm guessing because not everybody could ride a truck, and it could be dangerous if you sell it to the wrong person. So it kind of makes sense the way they gotta be stricter.
Well, I mean, you can't leave the lot without insurance anyway. So they're not gonna let you leave the lot without insurance. They're covered on that end, but just the financing companies, they look at it like, does this person have a CDL? They don't really care on the length. The length of the CDL is really cared by the insurance company. You know what I'm saying? But my first truck I purchased off an owner-operator. So a dude that already owned the truck.
Okay.
I bought it for $5,000. The truck had 900,000 miles. It was a Kenworth. It was a 1999 day cab.
Okay.
What, man, 900,000 miles is good on a truck?
On a truck, how I explain trucking to people that don't have knowledge, when you're purchasing a used truck, you usually want to look at a used truck. A truck could run 1 million miles on that engine. I mean, there's obviously maintenances across the way. Like when you reach 600,000 miles, you have to do a certain type of maintenance. When you reach 700,000 miles, you have to do a certain type, so on and so forth. And when you reach that 1 million miles, you might have to do an overhaul on the engine. There's certain things, but you can still keep the body. Because what a lot of people do is you could buy a truck, own a truck for 20 years, and you could just every 10 years put a new engine in there.
Yeah.
As long as because the truck is the guts. As long as your guts are good, you're good to go. This truck's on the road that's probably 1990, 1999, 2000s, but look better than trucks that are out here that's 2017, 2018, 2016, because these guys take care of the body and they just rebuild the engine.
But do you actually get a car? You know when you buy a car, you get the car?
Yeah, you can get a Carfax. They have trucks.
Carfax.
They have maintenance. They call them maintenance records.
Yeah.
So if it's a fleet-owned trucks, they call fleet-owned trucks. Like JB Hunt is a major company, so all their trucks are fleet-owned. So after a while, JB Hunt sells the trucks. Like maybe after 400,000 miles. So how I break it down to people is a truck, calculate everything by 100,000. You calculate your cars, everything by 10,000. So when 50,000 miles on a car is a good used car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 500,000 miles on a truck is a pretty decent truck. Because after really 100,000 miles on the car, is really you really start getting the issues. I mean, with the way cars are made now, maybe after 120, 130. But after 100,000 miles is where you really have to might put a new starter. You got to change your spark plugs and all that. Or maybe after 50,000 miles, you have to change your spark plugs. Same thing with a truck. You got your brake maintenance. You got your tire maintenance. You got your shock maintenance. But you also have to have, you do your regular oil change every 10,000 miles or every 3 months, depending how you run.
Okay.
So it's still all the same criteria as a car, but on a bigger scale. And when I mean on a bigger scale, a bigger financial scale.
No, I know because somebody told me a tire is like $1,000 or something like that.
Well, if you're buying brand new, like I bought brand new tires for the back of my truck. I'll show you pictures of the truck once we out here. I have a day cab. So the back of my truck, it was $550 for a brand new tire. One.
Yeah, I know.
And there's 8 of them back there.
That's what I'm telling you.
You know what I'm saying? So there's 8 tires in the back. So I paid $550 for one times 8. Then now they have many because let's talk about that. So I became my own operator.
Yeah.
This is how I always
What year was this?
2010.
Okay, so 2010. Yeah.
So I always double dip. So people be like, what do you mean by double dip? If I see my company hires outside contractors, whatever business I am, this is just the outside person looking in.
Yeah.
I'm already inside working for them, but they're hiring you to come drive some trailers too. So why I can't get some of that pie? Yeah. So I end up getting a truck and quitting my job with JB Hunt, but end up driving for JB Hunt. You see the flip?
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's like
I doubled up my salary.
Yeah.
I doubled up my salary, and I did it for a while. So in JB Hunt, back then I was making like about $1,000 a week, $1,100 a week, and then when I got my own truck, I went up to making like $2,500 a week.
Oh wow!
So I was doing like $2,500 a week. But people, this is what I got to tell all the listeners. These numbers I'm throwing out here, you got to consider. Now I got to pay for my own maintenance.
Yeah, that's what
I'm paying for my own fuel.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it's like you're it's like saying self-employed.
Yeah, I'm self-employed. I'm self-employed. I have to do my own bookkeeping, my own taxes, my own everything.
That's what that means.
But I have the potential of really doubling, tripling my income based on how you budget yourself. You just got to be real strict, and you have to have some type of knowledge. But what the downside of it is the lack of knowledge could cost you a lot of money.
Yes. And
this is where I see on Instagram, everybody posting about trucking. I'm going to be an owner operator. Da, da, da. It's cool. I'm not trying to talk nobody out of doing what they want to do. I just want to tell everybody there's a lot of expenses that come with this game that they don't tell us on social media. Mm-hmm. They don't tell you if I just spent $5,600 on my engine. And not even on my engine, I'm sorry. I had to change my shocks, my springs, my bearings, my kingpins, and put new brakes.
Yeah,
right?
That's crazy.
And I had to change my whole clutch. I had to put a brand new clutch in the truck.
This is expensive.
Yeah. Just the clutch alone was $2,800.
Wow.
That's crazy. I had a great week that week. Mm-hmm. So it was like
it worked out. It paid for it.
Yeah, but most of my profit went into the maintenance of my truck.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
No, it happens. It happens, and it's like it's what I'm saying. Like when you're yes, you're gonna make more money if you prepare yourself, obviously,
yes.
and you know what you're getting, what interesting you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
But then it comes with a cost. You do have to pay for your stuff. So that's the bad end of it. It's like with real estate as well. We were talking.
Yeah, because we talk something similar. Like, yes, you can make money, but you also gotta remember it's a business. You're gonna have to spend on it. Like anything, like with a house. Let's say you own a couple of property house. When stuff get damaged, that's money that you're gonna have to spend.
Yeah, you gotta fix it yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta fix it yourself. And so me being an owner operator at this point, I didn't know all this, but I started to get to learn it because my experience, this is what I tell people, my experience as a company driver helped me to learn a little things. Even though I never fixed nothing on the truck, but there was little things I did. Change light bulbs, check the oil, check the tires, check the brakes. These were things that I learned working for somebody that helped me stay a little bit ahead of the game, and also knowing driving a truck. So I could tell if a truck needed a wheel alignment. I could tell if the clutch is bad. I could tell if the gears needed, you know what I'm saying? These are things that helped me along the way of learning the trucking game, because I tell everybody, any industry you want to get into, at least have some type of working knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes
you know what I'm saying? I mean, or the person you could have a partner. Your partner, he could be the mechanic, and you could be the finance guy, or you could have the business intellect, and y'all could combine and do something special.
Exactly, and I was gonna say something similar to that. So yeah, you want to get if you're gonna get into a career, you want to get into something that you already know, right?
Yeah.
Now it could even
it will help. You don't have to.
Yeah, I
don't have to.
I was gonna get into that.
Yeah.
So it's either you do something that you already know, or you meet somebody that has a certain type of knowledge, and see how you could
fit into
that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's either or. You know, so when I see all these people talking about how you can make money online, a lot of times that people don't pursue that because, bro, I don't know what the hell this is.
Yeah.
Am I gonna trust this guy that I just met online?
Yeah.
You know, it's a risk.
Yeah.
It's a high risk, which is why a lot of people don't. Yeah, which is why a lot of people don't go through with it. And then sometimes when you go through with it, you learn certain things. Like, damn, I didn't know I was gonna go through all this shit.
I can feel that some people don't do their homework. Like, before you can, let's say you do want to get into, like you said, the trucking thing, make sure you know the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
People just listen to the pros and forget about the cons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So what I end up doing with that truck, I end up putting a driver in there. This is another aspect of the game that I want people to really think about, especially those people, your listeners, that are getting involved in the trucking game that don't have no CDL, that think they could just throw a driver in there and do what they got to do and make some money. Or maybe their cousin got a CDL and they're going to put their cousin in the truck. I put a driver. He had got fired from my company, from JB Hunt, and he had a family. So I already had, going back to my point of having a rapport, I had rapport with the regional manager, district manager, and fleet manager. That's how I was able to get my truck in there and get work. I was like, yo, I'm thinking about coming back. They was like, yo, we got your same truck number. Because JB Hunt assigns you a truck number.
Yeah.
They said, yo, we got your truck waiting for you. I still got a picture of my truck from JB Hunt on my phone.
That's great.
They said, we got your truck waiting for you, Craig. Just bring it on in. I was like, all right, cool. So I brought it in. The guy that got fired, me and him was real cool. And I told him, you know what, bro? Like, I got this truck here. If you want to run for me, I'll pay you the same amount you was making with JB Hunt. You know what I'm saying? I'll pay you $1,000 a week. What's up? So I knew he was a hustler, but I never did my background on why JB Hunt let him go. He was a crash dummy. This dude always got in a fucking accident.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? He was a reckless driver. He was a hustler, but a reckless driver.
Yeah.
So it was all good. The first week was cool. I think even the first month was cool. We made a lot of money. I was making like, with that guy, the way he ran, I was probably profiting after all expense and everything, probably close to like $2,000, maybe like high end thousands, like maybe 1,500 to 1,700 a week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Off of one truck. And this is all clean profit. This is all my overhead. Well, the truck was paid off. So all my overhead was paid for, even putting 10% aside for maintenance. I was clearing like 17, 18. So I'm like, oh, this shit is bread.
That's not bad.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just one guy. So I was like, all right, it's cool. Then all of a sudden, the crash dummy started happening.
And coming up in the next week episode.
So it was like a stumble. So did it make you quit?
What I mean, yeah, you could say I quit,
technically.
And this is why I went in the second time around without a partner. The problem I had with the partnership was one.
There's such thing as being envious and it having to motivate you to actually want to achieve that.